influences the speed at which ice flows into the oceans, which in turn allows them to evaluate the potential impact of added freshwater on delicate marine ecosystems. This discovery also raises an intriguing question. Could life exist beneath the ice? Intriguingly, when scientists drilled through approximately 3,540 feet of ice to collect water samples from one of the lakes, they discovered that it contained approximately 10,000 bacterial cells per milliliter. Imagine a world of ice, a world teeming with hidden secrets. Recent discoveries in Antarctica have revealed a surprising abundance of bacterial life. Millions upon millions of bacterial cells packed into every milliliter of water. This incredible density of microscopic life hints at an even grander possibility, that these icy waters could sustain more complex organisms, perhaps even tiny microanimals thriving beneath the frozen surface. And these newly discovered lakes, they might just be their hidden oases, their underwater homes. But the implications of these Antarctic lakes extend far beyond our own planet. Scientists are now considering how these ecosystems might hold the key to understanding the potential for life on other worlds. Imagine the frozen plains of Mars. If life exists beneath its icy surface, it might echo the patterns we're seeing in Antarctica. The secrets held within these Antarctic lakes could provide crucial insights into the very nature of life that might once have thrived, or perhaps still thrives, on the red planet. What critical new information about Martian life could Antarctica hold? But make no mistake, Antarctica is no paradise. Venture there in the dead of winter, and you'll encounter some of the most brutal conditions on Earth. The record low temperature plummeted to a staggering 128 degrees Fahrenheit. And in 2010, even that mark was shattered, with temperatures dipping to a bone-chilling 135 degrees. Imagine that level of cold. Add to that the relentless biting winds, and the experience becomes truly extreme. The very face of Antarctica transforms with the seasons. During the summer months, the ice sheet covers a vast 1.2 million square miles. But as winter descends, that icy grip expands dramatically, engulfing a staggering 7.3 million square miles. Despite this constant flux, Antarctica remains the undisputed king of ice, dwarfing even the Arctic in its frozen immensity. And who are the true inhabitants of this frozen realm? Forget human claims. This is penguin territory. These charismatic creatures, along with seals and the majestic killer whales, or Sinus orca, are the true lords of Antarctica. 5 different species of penguins carve out their existence here. Despite the continent's unforgiving nature, it's possible to visit Antarctica as a tourist, drawn by the allure of its pristine landscapes and the opportunity for unique research and fishing expeditions. During the summer, research stations swell with activity, housing around 5,000 scientists and support staff. But as winter's icy grip tightens, that number dwindles to a mere 1,000 hardy souls. Beneath that vast expanse of ice lies an astonishing secret. Antarctica holds approximately 70% of the world's freshwater reserves. Imagine, if you will, the consequences if that ice were to melt away. The impact on our planet would be catastrophic. Waters don't always take such diminutive forms. Here, you can also encounter some of the most bizarre and unsettling creatures on the planet. The sea spiders. These marine arthropods, named for their resemblance to land-dwelling spiders, are anything but ordinary. Unlike their terrestrial cousins, sea spiders can grow to enormous sizes. Imagine a spider the size of a dinner plate scuttling along the ocean floor. These creatures often appear as nothing more than 8 spindly legs, seemingly detached from any body. Some species lack eyes entirely, relying instead on proboscises in place of jaws. Due to their preference for deep, frigid waters, sea spiders remain largely a mystery to science. Antarctica continues to guard countless secrets, with long, dark tunnels winding through its glaciers, leading to unknown realms. It is on this continent that the remains of giant dinosaurs have been unearthed, alongside the fossils of other ancient creatures, including the ancestors of modern ducks. Countless underground rivers and lakes conceal unexplored ecosystems, teeming with undiscovered wildlife. Even the ice itself can take on surreal forms, as seen in the mesmerizing striped icebergs, adorned with bands of blue, black, green, and turquoise. The colors, a result of unique conditions and impurities within the ice, create a breathtaking spectacle against the stark white landscape. Water transforming into a solid state. Imagine, for example, streaks of vibrant green painted across the ice. These are the work of algae blooming beneath the frozen surface. And those mesmerizing blue formations? Those are born when the water surrenders to the cold with excessive speed, solidifying in the blink of an eye. But enough of this Arctic poetry. It's time to seek refuge from the encroaching cold. Hawaii beckons, a tropical paradise of warmth and sun. But before we escape the icy grip of Antarctica, let's address a few mysteries that have captured the imagination of explorers and armchair adventurers alike. Picture this: a mysterious doorway, etched into the heart of Antarctica's frozen expanse. What could it be? Some whisper of Bigfoot's secret vacation retreat, a cozy cabin nestled amidst the glaciers. Others, with a twinkle in their eye, suggest it's a shuttlecraft, a relic from a forgotten episode of Star Trek. And then there are those who claim it's a portal to Agartha, a mythical kingdom said to reside in the Earth's very core. But fear not, intrepid viewers, for science has an explanation that, while less fantastical, is no less intriguing. This so-called doorway resides within a region of rapidly forming sea ice, a coastal zone dotted with diminutive islands embraced by shallow waters. As the ice flows and grinds against the unyielding embrace of submerged rocks, it sculpts patterns that, while seemingly bizarre, are entirely natural. Here, in this particular spot, the ice is thin, rendering it susceptible to the whims of the hidden geology beneath. The frigid winds that relentlessly scour Antarctica further contribute to this icy artistry, etching lines and shapes into the snow-covered canvas. So, what is this mysterious doorway, in truth? It's simply a rocky ridge, stubbornly poking through the icy veneer, exposed by a slight thaw. The doorway's roof is the very tip of this rock, while the walls are merely snowy trails sculpted by the relentless unidirectional winds. In essence, it's an iceberg, stranded and slowly succumbing to the elements, melting in place. But the mysteries of Antarctica don't end there. Another intrepid explorer, a denizen of YouTube, stumbled upon an anomaly more than 150 miles from the shoreline. A colossal ice ship stretching an impressive 400 feet in length. The internet, as it often does, erupted in a frenzy of speculation. Could this be a vessel hurled across the globe from the infamous Bermuda Triangle? Alas, scientific scrutiny poured cold water on these thrilling theories. There was simply no concrete evidence to suggest it was a ship at all, merely a sizable chunk of ice playing tricks on the eye. And, as the summer months arrived, the ship vanished, melting back into the sea from whence it came, thus ending the mystery. And what about the pyramid discovered via Google Maps? Did the ancient Egyptians establish a secret Antarctic outpost? The answer, alas, is far more prosaic. It's simply a mountain, a part of Antarctica's most imposing mountain range, which extends for nearly 250 miles. This isn't even the first pyramid-shaped mountain to be found on the continent. Explorers from the British Antarctic expedition had previously encountered a similarly shaped peak, which they promptly nicknamed the Pyramid. The only problem? It didn't really look like a pyramid. But fear not, for not all Antarctic discoveries end in disappointment. Prepare to be amazed by a colossal ice shelf, a frozen marvel that evoked, in the minds of scientists, the grandeur of the Grand Canyon. A specialized submarine robot, christened Rain, traversed over 600 miles beneath the thick ice, capturing breathtaking footage of icy mountains, sweeping valleys, level plateaus, and intricate swirling patterns sculpted entirely from ice. It was an alien world hidden beneath our own. Among Rand's most peculiar finds were enormous spherical holes, or scoops, carved into the ice. But tragedy struck. The scientists lost contact with their robotic explorer. Their best guess? That inquisitive Weddell seals, known for their playful nature, may have inadvertently bumped into Rand, causing it to become hopelessly stuck. To conserve power, Rand likely initiated an emergency shutdown, rendering it undetectable, but the team remains undeterred. They harbor dreams of constructing a new robot, one that will venture back into this icy canyon to monitor the ever-changing patterns beneath the frozen surface. Yet another immense Antarctic canyon was brought to light, ironically, by inclement weather. A team of acoustic experts found their work at the Casey Research Station grinding to a halt amidst a raging storm. Instead of succumbing to boredom, they seized the unexpected downtime as an opportunity to map the seafloor near the Adams Glacier, and so they stumbled upon a canyon of truly epic proportions, nearly 7,000 feet deep, almost 30,000 feet wide, and stretching over 28 miles away from the glacier's edge. The initial mapping expedition only scratched the surface of this underwater wonder before the team was forced to retreat to the research station. But when the next bout of foul weather descended, the ship bravely returned, determined to unveil more of the canyon's secrets. Battling waves that soared up to 13 feet and winds of unbelievable ferocity, they pressed onward. After logging nearly 15 hours acquiring data, the team finally had what they needed to complete their map. On their return journey to Australia, they made one final crucial stop. Now, they possessed a complete and detailed picture of the subglacial canyon. The study of this vast hidden landscape is providing scientists with invaluable insights into the history of glacial activity and the complex interplay between the colossal Antarctic ice sheet and the surrounding ocean. Imagine a frozen lake locked deep within the Antarctic ice, known as Lake Enigma. For a long time, it was believed that this lake was nothing more than a solid block of ice. However, during a daring expedition, researchers made a startling discovery. Beneath the seemingly impenetrable frozen surface lay a layer of liquid water stretching down nearly 40 feet. Driven by scientific curiosity, they drilled through the thick ice and lowered a camera into the dark abyss, eager to uncover the secrets hidden within the lake's depths. The water, believed to originate from a nearby amorphous glacier through a hidden underground network, teemed with bizarre microbial life. These microscopic organisms formed intricate mats that carpeted the lake bed. Some of these mats were delicate and spiky, while others resembled crumpled carpets or even miniature tree-like structures reaching up to 16 inches in height. Many of these microbes, like plants, were capable of producing their own food through photosynthesis, resulting in a highly oxygenated environment. One of the most fascinating discoveries was a type of microbe typically found in low-oxygen environments thriving in this oxygen-rich lake. Lake Enigma may mirror conditions found on icy moons like Europa or Enceladus, hinting that they too might harbor hidden water beneath their icy shells, and possibly even microbial life. Another astounding discovery from Antarctica: minuscule pieces of amber found within ancient mudstone. It took paleontologists years of painstaking study of incredibly well-preserved fossilized roots, pollen, and spores, first unearthed in 2017, to confirm the amber's significance. This amber provides definitive proof that resin-producing trees once flourished in Antarctica, forming part of a lush rainforest that thrived near the South Pole during the mid-Cretaceous period, millions of years ago. Back then, these trees would have had to endure months of darkness during the long Antarctic winters. Scientists theorize that they adapted by entering a state of dormancy for extended periods. The amber fragments discovered, though, led to the downfall of entire civilizations. Despite the looming threat of future volcanic eruptions, experts warn that our world remains woefully unprepared. Michael Cassidy, a volcanologist at the University of Birmingham, emphasizes the lack of adequate measures to confront such a disaster. He points out the stark contrast. While NASA and other space agencies invest billions in defending against asteroid impacts, a volcanic super-eruption is a far more probable threat. Yet, a comprehensive global strategy to address a massive eruption remains absent despite its potential for far greater destruction. The last eruption of magnitude 7 occurred in 1815 at Mount Tambora in Indonesia. The immediate aftermath claimed the lives of thousands within days, but the disaster's reach extended far beyond the immediate vicinity. The eruption disrupted global weather patterns and triggered widespread food shortages, impacting millions worldwide. That eruption stands as the largest in recorded human history. It hurled a colossal cloud of particulate matter into the upper atmosphere. This cloud acted as a planetary shield, blocking sunlight and causing a significant drop in global temperatures, plunging the world into chaos. The following year became known as the year without a summer. Temperatures plummeted, crops withered, famine gripped the land, and a cholera pandemic erupted, resulting in tens of thousands of deaths. A chilling historical footnote. The eruption may have inadvertently inspired Mary Shelley to pen Frankenstein while confined indoors during the unusually frigid summer of 1816 in Switzerland. Since then, countless volcanoes have roared to life, but none have approached the sheer scale of the Tambora eruption. Now, more than 2 centuries later, scientists are sounding the alarm about a new supervolcano threat. Another massive eruption may be on the horizon, and the world may not be ready. As scientists engage in serious discussions about the increasing likelihood of the next major volcanic eruption, experts are urging immediate action to prepare before time runs out. The stark reality is that a massive volcanic eruption in our modern world could unleash devastation far exceeding that of the year without a summer. Unlike the conditions of the early 19th century, we are already grappling with significant climate changes and a more fragile global infrastructure, potentially exacerbating the consequences. Dr. Michael Rampino, a geological scientist, cautions that our world is now more unstable, implying that a modern mega-eruption could have dramatically more severe consequences. Adding another layer of complexity, greenhouse gases from fossil fuels may alter the aftermath of such an eruption, potentially leading to an even colder climate rather than a period of warming. We are talking about volcanic activity endangering humanity. Dr. Thomas Aubrey, a volcanologist, discovered that in a warmer, more turbulent atmosphere, the sulfur dioxide gas released by a volcanic eruption would spread faster and farther than in the past. This gas transforms into sulfate aerosols, microscopic particles that reflect sunlight and trigger global cooling. It's crucial to understand that the size of these airborne particles plays a pivotal role. The particle size influences how they interact with sunlight, absorbing and reflecting its energy. Scientists at Cambridge suggest that in a future, warmer world, a volcanic eruption producing smaller particles could amplify surface cooling by as much as 15%. The impact would be more significant than the 1815 eruption due to a more even distribution of these fine particles. However, the full picture remains shrouded in mystery. Researchers at the University of Geneva emphasize that our understanding of the comprehensive effects of such volcanic events is still in its early stages. Accurately predicting future volcanic eruption risks poses a challenge, primarily because our data on past eruptions is limited. To delve into the history of volcanic activity, scientists meticulously analyze ice cores extracted from Greenland and Antarctica alongside ancient tree rings. These natural archives serve as invaluable historical records of past climate fluctuations. The data gleaned from these sources indicates that several eruptions over the past few millennia caused temporary global cooling, dropping temperatures by approximately 2 to 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit. One of the most striking examples of this phenomenon is the 1257 Samalas eruption in Indonesia. This colossal event unleashed such power that it is believed to have triggered the Little Ice Age, a period of widespread global cooling that persisted for centuries. More recently, the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines led to a temporary, albeit slight, cooling of the Earth for several years. This eruption occurred during the satellite era, enabling scientists to precisely quantify the amount of sulfur dioxide released and its subsequent impact on the atmosphere. Yet, even with advanced tools like satellites and seismic instruments at our disposal, predicting the next major volcanic eruption remains a formidable challenge. Fortunately, while pinpointing the exact timing remains elusive, we can study worst-case scenarios to enhance preparedness. This includes formulating evacuation plans and establishing food stockpiles to mitigate potential global crop failures resulting from volcanic cooling. Changes in weather patterns may also contribute to increased volcanic activity. The retreat of glaciers, for instance, can alleviate pressure on underground magma reservoirs, thereby elevating the likelihood of eruptions. Furthermore, the increasing frequency of extreme rainfall events can see water seeping into volcanic fissures, triggering powerful, steam-driven explosions. This poses a threat to both active and dormant volcanoes. In light of these escalating risks, researchers are now diligently mapping volcanoes that are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Their findings reveal that Iceland, Chile, and Indonesia are among the regions facing the highest supervolcano threat. These are areas experiencing rapid glacial melt or significant increases in rainfall. A 2022 study revealed a startling statistic. Approximately 58% of all known active above-ground volcanoes worldwide, a staggering 716 in total, could be triggered by extreme rainfall, raising the specter of another mini ice age. Now, let's turn our attention back to the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai eruption, which occurred on January 15, 2022. Scientists have confirmed that this event produced the highest plume ever documented. This underwater volcano, nestled in the South Pacific, ejected an ash cloud reaching an astonishing altitude of 187,000 feet, surpassing any previously recorded eruption. What makes this eruption even more extraordinary is that it was the first to penetrate the mesosphere, the third layer of Earth's atmosphere. The mesosphere extends from approximately 160,000 feet above the Earth's surface, the region where meteors begin to burn up, creating the mesmerizing spectacle of shooting stars. To accurately measure the plume's height, researchers from the University of Oxford and Ralph Space harnessed data from 3 geostationary weather satellites. Prior to this, the record for the highest volcanic plume was held by the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo, which reached a height of 131,000 feet. Remarkably, this type of measurement was only made possible by modern satellite technology. A decade earlier, such an achievement would have been impossible. Another volcan. Now, let's turn our attention to a potential source of global volcanic disruption: Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula. As recently as November 2024, this region experienced an eruption that necessitated the evacuation of nearby residents. The event unfolded with surprising speed, commencing just after 11 p.m. While warnings were minimal, the volcano unleashed a torrent of molten rock from a fissure stretching nearly 2 kilometers. Imagine the scene: authorities scrambling to evacuate approximately 50 homes, along with the guests of the renowned Blue Lagoon Spa Resort, a major tourist draw southwest of Reykjavik. Although air travel remained unaffected, officials issued cautionary alerts regarding the potential spread of hazardous gas emissions across the peninsula, including the town of Grindavik. Grindavik, a community of roughly 3,800 inhabitants, has endured repeated volcanic activity. Past eruptions have inflicted damage on its infrastructure and triggered numerous evacuations. For instance, picture this. In August 2024, a substantial crack, measuring 2.5 kilometers long, ripped open at the Sundhnúkar crater, close to Grindavik. This alarming event prompted authorities to declare a state of emergency as lava flowed in multiple directions, threatening the town. Fortunately, Iceland's meteorological office assessed the November eruption as significantly less severe than the August event. Geophysical experts conducted aerial surveys, confirming that the situation appeared less critical than previous episodes. Currently, Grindavik is considered safe, but the possibility of future eruptions remains a concern. Scientists are actively monitoring the situation. Wet season, the river rages, its currents too swift, and its depths too great. The riverbed plants are submerged, deprived of the sunlight necessary to produce their vibrant red pigments. Conversely, in the dry season, the river dwindles, lacking the water volume required to sustain the flourishing aquatic life. To witness the Caño Cristales in its full glory, you must arrive at precisely the right moment. Finally, consider the beaches of the Maldives, which at night come alive with an ethereal glow. This mesmerizing phenomenon is caused by bioluminescent plankton. These microscopic organisms are like miniature underwater light bulbs, emitting a cool blue light when disturbed or agitated. Envision strolling along the shore, leaving behind glowing footprints with each step. Or even better, imagine swimming amidst these magical plankton, surrounded by a sea of shimmering light. Scientists have discovered that this bioluminescence serves as a clever defense mechanism. When these microorganisms emit their dazzling blue flashes, they startle and disorient potential predators. The plankton produces this light through a chemical reaction involving a substance called luciferin. While these enchanting plankton can appear at any time of year, the best chances of witnessing this luminous spectacle are generally from June to December. During these months, the seas around the Maldives teem with a higher concentration of plankton, creating ideal conditions for a breathtaking light show after sunset. However, to truly witness this magic, you need the right conditions. Tidal currents must bring these bioluminescent organisms close to the shore in vast numbers. Predicting the precise timing of this spectacle remains a challenge, adding to its allure. Imagine this: you're meticulously preparing for a once-in-a-lifetime photography expedition. The goal? To capture the pristine, untouched beauty of the Antarctic landscape, just as it's portrayed in glossy travel magazines. You've researched the perfect settings, packed high ISO equipment, ready to immortalize the frozen continent. Suddenly, the tranquility shatters. An urgent alert blares, cutting through the anticipatory calm. Emergency! Evacuate immediately! Leave all personal belongings. The Antarctic continent is erupting. This isn't a drill. Panic erupts around you. People scream, running in every direction. Cars collide in chaotic attempts to flee. You find yourself on the southern coast of Australia, but the sky above is a terrifying, impenetrable black. The darkness stretches further than the eye can see, an ominous curtain drawn across the horizon. A call comes through from a friend in southern India, their voice choked with fear. The same phenomenon is happening there. Ash is falling, the sky is choked, and a strange, acrid rain is beginning to fall. A deep, guttural rumbling vibrates through the earth, a sound that has nothing to do with hunger. It's the sound of the planet itself groaning. Everyone scrambles inland, desperately trying to outrun the encroaching darkness. The black clouds consume everything: cars, trees, buildings, a terrifying erasure of the world. Visibility drops to zero. Confusion reigns, amplified by primal fear. Then, a monstrous wave crashes over the shore, a tsunami swallowing everything in its path. This is the scenario of the Great Antarctic Eruption. Antarctica, a vast continental desert shrouded in ice. In fact, it's the largest desert on Earth, a seemingly barren expanse. But beneath that icy surface, and dotted across its peaks, lies a hidden danger, a massive network of volcanoes, slumbering giants waiting to be awakened. Scientists have identified 138 volcanoes in Antarctica. A staggering 91 of these are concealed beneath the thick ice sheets, while 47 are visible above the frozen surface. And there may be even more, still undiscovered. Most of these volcanoes are currently dormant, meaning they haven't erupted in the last 50,000 years. The last eruption occurred at Mount Erebus, an active volcano in West Antarctica. Towering at roughly 2,500 feet above sea level, it's the most active volcano in the southernmost reaches of the world. To put that into perspective, that's like stacking 5 Burj Khalifas, the world's tallest building, on top of each other. These volcanoes are not isolated incidents. They're spread across the entire continent, concentrated in a region spanning the distance between Canada and Mexico. And that's just the ones we know about. Scientists have warned of the catastrophic consequences if even one of these ice-covered volcanoes were to erupt. The eruption would melt the West Antarctic ice sheet, triggering a massive release of ice into the ocean. Sea levels would rise dramatically, flooding coastal regions around the globe and endangering countless communities. And that's without considering the shifting tectonic plates beneath the surface, which could allow magma to force its way to the surface in unexpected locations. The thought of a single volcano erupting is terrifying enough. But what if all the volcanoes in Antarctica erupted simultaneously? Imagine you're a scientist on a research vessel approaching the Antarctic coast. You're on your way to conduct experiments, but an unsettling feeling creeps over you. The water seems to be moving faster, the current stronger than usual. You exchange worried glances with your colleagues, a shared sense of unease in the air. As you disembark and begin unloading your equipment, something feels profoundly wrong. You set up base and try to proceed as usual. In the desolate landscape, you observe a colony of emperor penguins, Aptenidites forsteri, waddling about, hunting, playing, living their penguin lives. But then, you notice something strange. The penguins, as if on cue, begin heading towards the ocean en masse. Simultaneously, flocks of Antarctic birds take flight, disappearing towards the horizon. A primal instinct is driving them away. This is extremely weird. Suddenly, the ground beneath you begins to tremble violently. Behind you, a colossal tower of smoke and ash erupts, reaching towards the heavens. Volcanic ash contains microscopic particles of rock and glass that can be extremely harmful, especially to individuals with respiratory conditions. Even for healthy people, inhaling the ash can cause severe irritation and breathing difficulties. Furthermore, the eruption releases noxious gases that, while often dispersed quickly by the wind, can still pose a significant threat to humans, causing irritation to the eyes, nose, and throat. The eyes, the throat. These are the prime targets. But if you find yourself anywhere in the vicinity of such an eruption, a gas mask becomes essential equipment. Or better still, immediate evacuation is the wisest course of action. While the spectacle of lava spewing forth and the earth shaking from explosions might capture your attention, the true danger lies in the invisible killers, the gases and ash. These can spread across vast distances, even disrupting air travel far beyond the immediate volcanic zone. You glance at your fellow scientists, their faces grim, and the signal is clear. It's time to leave, and leave now. Think like penguins, dive in and swim for your lives. But the waters are treacherous, the waves high, and the rumbling beneath grows ever more intense. Then, a terrifying sight. More plumes of smoke erupting skyward, not from one vent, but from multiple points across the landscape. Back to the boat. A painful decision, but abandoning precious equipment is the only path to survival. The weight would only slow you down. For now, you're safe, but a look back reveals a horrifying vista. A dark, suffocating cloud of smoke engulfing the entire continent. Volcanic eruptions are diverse in their nature. It's not always the stereotypical image of molten rock shooting skyward. They can range from gentle oozing to violent explosions. Some release lava, others do not. This variability hinges on a multitude of factors: the surrounding environment, the concentration of gases within, the presence of groundwater, and even the fundamental chemistry of the magma itself. The chances are high that you would witness a terrifying array of explosive events all around. You manage to escape the immediate mainland of Antarctica, but find yourselves surrounded by treacherous lagoons and colossal ice formations. You navigate as best you can, but the ash continues to fall, a grim, unrelenting rain. The sky is plunged into darkness, the sun blotted out by the dense, choking smoke. Volcanic ash, a deceptively simple term, encompasses a range of particle sizes, each capable of inflicting different kinds of damage. From minor irritations to the lungs and eyes, to the wholesale smothering of vegetation and crops. And it gets worse. Too often, this volcanic ash falls in immense quantities. It can accumulate on rooftops, causing them to collapse under the sheer weight. It can block roads, cutting off escape routes. And it can poison aquatic ecosystems, suffocating life beneath the surface. That flash in the sky is no illusion. Ash clouds, charged with static electricity, generate powerful electrical fields, unleashing terrifying lightning storms. These bolts can disrupt radio communications and even ignite fires. What images spring to mind when you hear the name Antarctica? Most likely, a landscape of unending cold, blinding snow, colossal ice formations, and, of course, the ever-charming penguins. Yet, beneath this icy facade lies one of the most unexplored regions on our planet, a place that guards a wealth of bizarre and extraordinary secrets. And you don't even need to brave the Antarctic wilderness to witness some of these mysteries. All you require is access to Google Earth and a virtual journey to one of the southernmost islands of Antarctica, King George Island. Recently, keen-eyed internet users stumbled upon a rather peculiar sight on this remote island, a massive, gaping cave entrance. What lies beyond this dark, imposing passage? The theories began to swirl. Could it be the concealed entrance to a clandestine base, perhaps a hidden laboratory conducting forbidden experiments? Or maybe it's a fragment of an extraterrestrial spacecraft crashed eons ago and now partially buried beneath the ice. Some even dared to suggest it was a gateway to a lost, ancient Antarctic city, a civilization swallowed by the ice ages. Perhaps a colossal rock formation hides an ancient cave system deep beneath the snow and ice. These are just some of the ideas that have surfaced. By using Google Earth's tools, users have attempted to calculate the approximate dimensions of this enigmatic cave. The estimates suggest it could be around 74 feet in height and a staggering 250 feet in width. Large enough, perhaps, to conceal an entire Boeing passenger jet. The most logical explanation points towards a natural origin, a formation carved by the relentless forces of nature. Yet two strange details cast doubt on this simple answer. First, observe the base of the mountain where the cave is located. Do you notice what appear to be steps? Dark in color, seemingly constructed from stone, they ascend towards the cave mouth. And if you look even closer, faint impressions resembling human footprints can be discerned. Has someone or something been using these steps to enter the cave? Could something still reside within its icy depths? The second oddity is the intermittent disappearance of this mysterious entrance. First spotted in a Google Earth snapshot from 2007, the cave then vanished from subsequent images. It reappeared a few years later, only to vanish again. Then, in 2022, it was visible once more. Perhaps this is merely the work of the Antarctic climate. Snow melts, revealing the entrance, new layers accumulate, and then the fierce winds scour it clean, repeating the cycle. But those alleged steps, leading directly into the cave's dark maw, fuel suspicions that this is no ordinary natural formation. You can easily find the coordinates online and explore this Antarctic enigma for yourself via Google Earth. Perhaps you'll spot something that will unlock the mystery and share it with the world. But the strangeness doesn't end there. In 2020, another Google Earth user made a startling discovery. An object resembling a gigantic ship, lying on its side, entombed in ice and snow, approximately 100 miles off the Antarctic coast. The object's form was undeniably reminiscent of a cruise ship. One could make out what appeared to be windows, a deck, and even the bridge. However, not everyone was convinced. Some speculated that it was a crashed spaceship, while others proposed it was some kind of secret research facility. The user who initially discovered the ship estimated its length at around 400 feet, a typical size for a passenger vessel. But what would a ship be doing in such a remote, inhospitable location, trapped within a glacier? How did it get there? Who was its captain? To this day, these questions remain unanswered. Back in 2016, yet another bizarre finding emerged from the depths of Google Earth. This time, users spotted a photograph of an unidentified sea monster floating ominously off the Antarctic coast. The creature bore a striking resemblance to a colossal squid, with an estimated length of around 200 feet. That's slightly shorter than 3 train cars linked together. Imagine this kraken, a true Architeuthis ducks, of nightmare proportions, gliding through Antarctica's dark, icy waters, dragging anything and everything it encounters down to the crushing depths. Could it be a relative of the monstrous Cthulhu, or perhaps one of its offspring? Finally, let's turn our attention to another of Antarctica's unsettling wonders: the Blood Falls. Amidst the continent's endless, dazzling white landscapes, you'll notice a startling splash of crimson. Don't be alarmed, it's not actually blood. For centuries, this waterfall has been staining the snow a vivid red. The stream originates from deep within a white iceberg. Let's delve deeper and uncover the secrets behind this macabre spectacle. Millions of years ago, a small, pristine pond existed in this location. But then, an immense glacier slowly formed around it. A thick, impenetrable layer of ice and snow cut off the pond from sunlight, heat, and oxygen. For millennia, this isolated reservoir remained locked in its frigid prison, a true time capsule. Eventually, the trapped water found a weak point in the icy wall and burst forth. But as this incredibly salty water comes into contact with the fresh air, a chemical reaction occurs, painting the surrounding snow a terrifying shade of red. Imagine a land of stark contrasts where the familiar laws of nature seem to bend to their extremes. We're journeying to Antarctica, a place of unique natural phenomena, millions of years in the making. Here, in this icy realm, even rust takes on a strange alien beauty. When iron comes into contact with oxygen on this frozen continent, it doesn't just oxidize, it transforms into a vivid scarlet or a deep, earthy rust, painting the landscape with otherworldly hues. Now, picture one of the driest places on Earth, paradoxically nestled within this icy expanse. We're entering the McMurdo Dry Valleys, one of the most lifeless deserts our planet has to offer. Forget the scorching sun, the endless dunes of hot sand, the iconic cacti. This desert plays by different rules. A desert, by definition, is a place starved of precipitation and life, and the McMurdo Dry Valleys fit the bill perfectly. Yet what sets them apart is the complete absence of glaciers, an anomaly in the heart of Antarctica. Despite the ever-present frost, ice simply cannot form here, for rain hasn't graced this land for millions upon millions of years. Snow is an equally rare visitor. Instead, a relentless wind, born in the towering mountains, sweeps across the valleys, reaching speeds of up to 200 mph. Imagine trying to stand your ground against such a force. This wind, though seemingly a bringer of moisture, is in fact the architect of this desolation. Its incredible speed heats the air, causing any liquid or snow to evaporate instantly. Only the driest air ever touches the ground. Yet, even in this barren landscape, life finds a way. Scattered across the valleys are several lakes, bodies of water that defy the freezing temperatures thanks to their incredibly high salt concentration. The water is so saturated with salt that large organisms cannot survive, but microscopic life clings on near these briny shores, a testament to resilience. Rewind the clock 20 million years, and a vastly different Antarctica emerges. A lush, vibrant land, teeming with swamps, towering trees, and a buzzing chorus of insects and animals. Today, however, the McMurdo Dry Valleys bear a striking resemblance to the desolate surface of Mars. This similarity has made them invaluable to scientists and astronauts alike. They come here to study and explore, learning to live and work in an environment that mirrors the harsh conditions of the Red Planet. Think of it as a training ground for future Martian explorers, a place to hone their skills before venturing into the unknown. But Antarctica's secrets don't end there. In a stunning discovery, scientists unearthed a hidden underwater world teeming with hundreds of amphipods, small crustacean animals akin to shrimp. These creatures thrive beneath the ice, a vibrant ecosystem hidden from the world above. Now, let's clarify some geography. Antarctica is the region encompassing the southernmost part of our planet, the landmass we know as the continent of Antarctica. The Arctic, on the other hand, is a completely separate realm, found at the North Pole. While both regions share similar characteristics, frost, ice, and snow, they exist on opposite ends of the Earth. Returning to our discovery, scientists now theorize that a vast network of freshwater rivers and lakes lies hidden beneath the Antarctic ice. And in 2022, this theory gained further credence. Researchers exploring the Antarctic Ross Ice Shelf, a colossal piece of ice floating in the ocean, stumbled upon a brand new ecosystem. A team from New Zealand, wielding a specialized drilling rig equipped with a hot water supply, bored a hole 1,040 feet deep, a depth exceeding the height of the Empire State Building. Lowering video cameras into the icy abyss, they were met with a breathtaking sight. Thousands of crustaceans, darting and swirling in every direction, a chaotic ballet of life in the frigid darkness. But the wonders of Antarctic, distinct series of sharp ascending tones, repeated at regular intervals of several seconds. Initially, researchers speculated a connection to volcanic activity or underwater seismic events. However, the sound's seasonal nature, its intensity fluctuating with the time of year, quickly ruled out these geological explanations. Attention then shifted to the realm of marine biology. Could upsweep be linked to the movements or behaviors of marine animals? Scientists meticulously studied migration patterns and seasonal activities, searching for a correlation. Yet, despite exhaustive efforts, the source of upsweep remains stubbornly unidentified. Some hypothesize that it might originate from a specific species of fish or other vocal marine creature using sound for communication or navigation. But as of now, concrete proof remains elusive, leaving upsweep as one of the ocean's most persistent and perplexing acoustic mysteries. Let's journey now to the early 20th century, where two legendary explorers, Robert Falcon Scott and Roald Amundsen, were locked in a desperate race to be the first to reach the South Pole. It was a grueling and unforgiving contest, one that tragically ended in death for Scott and his team. Amundsen ultimately triumphed, planting his flag at the pole before his rivals. However, a member of Scott's ill-fated expedition, the British geologist Thomas Griffith Taylor, made an extraordinary and chilling discovery amidst the harsh Antarctic landscape. In 1911, at the base of a glacier that now bears his name, Taylor stumbled upon a waterfall of what appeared to be blood gushing from the ice. For over a century, the source of this eerie crimson cascade remained a mystery. But recently, a team of American scientists ventured to Taylor Glacier, armed with powerful electron microscopes, determined to unlock the secrets hidden within the bloodfalls. What they found would rewrite our understanding of this alien landscape. Previous investigations had only superficially examined the crimson enigma. Imagine for the first time, a comprehensive analysis of its mineral composition was undertaken. A team of dedicated researchers deployed a sophisticated array of analytical instruments, and what they discovered was truly remarkable. Minuscule iron-rich nanospheres. These incredibly tiny particles, dwarfed to 1/100th the size of a human red blood cell, have an extraordinary origin. They are born from ancient microbes, thriving in abundance within the meltwaters cascading from Taylor Glacier. These nanospheres are densely packed with a unique blend of elements: iron, silicon, calcium, aluminum, and sodium. This distinctive composition is what gives the subglacial water its striking vivid red hue, a phenomenon unlike anything else on Earth. What makes these nanospheres even more intriguing is their structure. Unlike typical minerals, they lack a crystalline structure. This explains why previous detection methods had failed to identify them. Deep within Taylor Glacier's icy embrace exists an ancient microbial community. Cut off from the outside world, it has flourished in isolation for thousands, perhaps even millions of years. The implications of this discovery are profound, potentially revolutionizing our search for life beyond our own planet. Consider Dr. Ken Levy, a research scientist at Johns Hopkins University, a leading expert in planetary materials and the analysis of Martian samples. Dr. Levy posed a compelling question. What would happen if a Mars rover were deployed to Antarctica? Could it decipher the mystery of what gives bloodfalls its mesmerizing red color? To answer this, the researchers treated bloodfalls as a mock Martian landing site. They employed techniques mirroring those used by rovers exploring the Red Planet. The samples collected were carefully transported to the advanced processing facilities at Johns Hopkins. There, Dr. Levy harnessed the power of transmission electron microscopy, unveiling the secrets of the enigmatic nanospheres. His findings led to a significant conclusion. Our current methods of analyzing planetary surfaces with rovers are inadequate. They fall short of fully revealing the true nature of environmental materials, especially on frigid planets like Mars. The problem is that these materials may exist on a scale too small or in a non-crystalline form, thus circumventing our current detection capabilities. To truly comprehend the essence of rocky planets, we require the advanced capabilities of transmission electron microscopes. While equipping a Mars rover with such a microscope remains a challenge, this research could herald a new era in space exploration. Now, imagine a waterfall that appears to be on fire. Every February, under the precise alignment of celestial bodies, Horsetail Fall in Yosemite National Park undergoes a breathtaking transformation. As the sun dips below the horizon, its rays strike the waterfall at a perfect angle, metamorphosing it into a dazzling spectacle of vibrant orange and red. This natural phenomenon, seemingly a miracle, was not widely known for a long time. While the original inhabitants of the valley may have been aware of it, They kept it a closely guarded secret. It wasn't until 1973 that photographer Galen Rowe captured the first widely recognized photograph of the waterfall, thrusting it into the public eye. Since then, the Yosemite Firefall has become a global sensation, spreading rapidly across social media platforms and attracting visitors from all corners of the world. This magnificent cascade draws hundreds of onlookers each year, but witnessing this spectacle is contingent upon specific conditions. First and foremost, Horsetail Fall requires a substantial flow of water. If the snowpack in February is insufficient, the waterfall lacks the necessary volume to create this natural magic. The temperatures must be warm enough during the day to melt the snowpack. If the weather remains too cold, the snow remains frozen, and the fiery spectacle will not ignite. Secondly, a clear western sky is essential at sunset. The sun's rays need an unobstructed path to reach Horsetail Fall and bring it to life. Given Yosemite's ever-changing weather patterns, clouds can miraculously dissipate just in time for the show. If all the conditions align perfectly, you'll have the privilege of witnessing the Yosemite Firefall in its full splendor for approximately 10 glorious minutes. For decades, the sailing stones of Death Valley National Park in California have presented a baffling enigma to scientists and casual observers alike. Picture this. Heavy rocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds, seemingly moving of their own volition across the desolate, cracked surface of Racetrack Playa, a vast, dried-up lake bed. These stones carve distinct trails in the parched mud, as if guided by unseen hands. Innumerable theories arose in attempts to explain this bizarre phenomenon. Could it be magnetic anomalies at work? Perhaps powerful dust devils, miniature tornadoes whipping across the desert floor, were responsible? Some even whispered of mischievous pranksters, though no human intervention was ever proven. The mystery deepened because no one had ever actually witnessed these rocks in motion, adding to the allure and frustration. Then, in 2006, a NASA scientist named Ralph Lorenz stepped into the fray. While his primary research focused on weather patterns on other planets, the enigma of Death Valley's sailing stones proved irresistible. He experienced a flash of inspiration while experimenting at his kitchen table with a simple Tupperware container. Lawrence filled the container with water, allowed a small rock to protrude from the surface, and placed the makeshift contraption in his freezer. Once frozen, he placed this icy creation in a larger tray filled with water and sand. Then, gently blowing on the icy rock, he observed something remarkable. The rock began to glide effortlessly across the water, leaving a clear trail in the sand below. Lawrence had been studying how ice formations could facilitate the movement of large rocks along Arctic tidal beaches. Applying this knowledge, he and his team theorized that under specific winter conditions in Death Valley, a sufficient amount of water could accumulate on Racetrack Playa, freezing into thin sheets of ice. This ice, buoyed by even a light breeze, could then carry the rocks across the playa's surface. As the ice floes drifted, they would leave their telltale marks in the soft, muddy terrain. Now, let's journey to a completely different landscape, the Caño Cristales River in Colombia, often hailed as the River of Five Colors. For most of the year, this waterway appears unremarkable, indistinguishable from countless other rivers. But between the wet and dry seasons, when the water level reaches a precise equilibrium, something magical happens. The riverbed of Caño Cristales is home to a unique species of plant. Under these specific conditions, this plant bursts into a riot of vibrant colors. Imagine a living rainbow. Intense reds, brilliant yellows, and lush greens all intertwining with the clear blue water. It's a symphony of hues, an unforgettable spectacle. Sadly, this extraordinary display is fleeting, lasting only a few weeks, typically from September through November. During Colombia's, paleontologists examined the strange fossil and discovered that it was, in fact, a giant soft-shell egg dating back approximately 66 million years. This wasn't just any egg. It measured over 11 inches long and 7 inches wide. A modern chicken egg pales in comparison at a mere 1 to 2 inches, and even an ostrich egg, at nearly 6 inches, seems diminutive. The thing had earned its title, the largest soft-shell egg ever discovered, and the second largest egg of any known animal. The only egg to surpass it in size belonged to the extinct Madagascan elephant bird, a creature 1.5 times the height of Michael Jordan. We're talking about the bird itself, not the egg, of course. This Antarctic egg holds another distinction. It's the first fossil of its kind ever found on this frozen continent. So, what colossal creature left it behind? The prime suspect is a giant sea turtle, a denizen of the ancient oceans, perhaps a relative of the mosasaurs. This discovery challenges previous assumptions, as many scientists believe these marine reptiles did not lay eggs. This single fossil could rewrite our understanding of their reproductive habits. Adding to its uniqueness, the egg possesses a thin shell devoid of pores, unlike most dinosaur eggs. Instead, its characteristics resemble those of lizard and snake eggs, yet it originated from a colossal creature linked to these reptiles. No known dinosaur or flying reptile of that era and region was large enough to produce such a massive egg. Therefore, a mosasaur, Mosasauridae, seems the most likely candidate, though definitive proof remains elusive. Scientists conducted exhaustive research, studying 259 species of living reptiles, including lizards and snakes, and meticulously examining their eggs. Their findings suggest that the mother of this enormous egg was likely at least 23 feet long, excluding her tail, a truly gigantic reptile. During the late Cretaceous period, this region of Antarctica may have served as a nursery. Paleontological digs in the area have yielded bones of juvenile mosasaurs and plesiosaurs alongside those of their adult counterparts. Meanwhile, in Norway, archaeologists have made another fascinating discovery. Dozens of arrows perfectly preserved in ice for 6,000 years. These artifacts emerged from a vast ice patch high in the mountains, spanning approximately 45 football fields. During the unusually warm summers of 2014 and 2016, scientists surveyed the Langfone ice patch, uncovering a wealth of reindeer bones and antlers alongside the ancient arrows. Some arrows were intact, while others were fragmented, scattered with 5 arrowheads around the melting ice. This collection represents the most extensive assemblage of arrows ever found at a frozen site worldwide. Among the 68 discovered arrows, some date back to the Neolithic period, while the most recent originate from the 14th century AD. Ice acts as a remarkable time capsule, preserving organic material in near-perfect condition. Langfone gained prominence as a premier ice patch site after a local hiker stumbled upon a 3,300-year-old leather shoe near its edge. Scientists are actively studying sites like Langfone to glean insights into how ancient humans utilized these areas and how ice patches across Norway and North America have transformed over millennia. Now, let's journey back even further in time. Let's journey back roughly 32,000 years to the frigid landscape of Siberia. Imagine a humble squirrel diligently burying seeds near a winding river. The Ice Age vibes are unmistakable, aren't they? These weren't just any seeds. They belonged to a plant destined to bloom with delicate white flowers. Fast forward millennia, and a team of dedicated scientists unearths these very seeds, entombed deep within the Siberian permafrost. They were located at a depth comparable to a 12-story building, a testament to the passage of time. The seeds lay nestled amongst ice and the fossilized remains of colossal creatures. Woolly mammoths, ancient bison, and the mighty woolly rhinoceros. Though some of the mature seeds bore the marks of time, perhaps nibbled upon by that long-gone squirrel, younger seeds still held viable plant material within. With meticulous care, the scientists extracted this precious material, placing it within nurturing containers, coaxing it towards life. And here's where the story truly takes a remarkable turn. They succeeded in germinating the seeds. The resulting plants, while recognizable, displayed subtle differences in their floral structure compared to their modern counterparts. A year later, this resurrected Ice Age plant even produced new seeds, a symbol of resilience and rebirth. This incredible feat led the scientists to propose that permafrost could serve as a vast repository of ancient genetic material, potentially allowing us to rediscover and even revive extinct species. Now, let's shift our focus to Antarctica. A team of scientists aboard an icebreaker, initially searching for whales, stumbled upon an anomaly far more extraordinary. The ship's underwater camera, a device as hefty as a modern automobile, detected an astonishing 16 million icefish nests blanketing the floor of the Weddell Sea. These nests, spaced approximately every 10 inches, formed a sprawling colony covering 93 square miles, an area slightly larger than Washington, D.C. This vast underwater city even possessed a clearly defined border, marked by a distinct line in the sandy seabed. The scientists were drawn to this particular region due to an area of slightly warmer water. This thermal anomaly teemed with tiny creatures known as zooplankton, a vital food source. The scientists believe that young icefish, upon hatching, instinctively swim upwards to feast on this zooplankton buffet before descending to the seafloor to mature and reproduce. The abundance of food explains the presence of icefish, but the sheer scale of the nesting colony dwarfed anything previously observed. In another Antarctic discovery, New Zealand's Antarctic Heritage Trust unearthed a collection of aged photographic negatives within a historic hut. These negatives revealed unique images captured by the Ross Sea Party, part of Ernest Shackleton's infamous and ultimately unsuccessful expedition. Shackleton's ambitious goal was to traverse Antarctica on foot, crossing from the Weddell Sea to the Ross Sea via the South Pole. Disaster struck when their ship, the Aurora, was forced out to sea, leaving the expedition stranded. The crew sought shelter in a hut originally used by Captain Robert Falcon Scott, another explorer whose quest to reach the North Pole tragically ended in failure. The fragile cellulose nitrate negatives, found fused together within a small container, were carefully transported back to New Zealand. There, experts painstakingly separated the images, revealing 22 hidden photographs. While many were damaged, the Trust was able to identify familiar landmarks around McMurdo Sound, a well-known region of Antarctica. The identity of the photographer remains a mystery, adding another layer to this historical puzzle. Finally, picture this. In December 2021, scientists noticed an unusual marking on the Larsen Ice Shelf, a colossal expanse of ice stretching off the eastern coast of Antarctica. Suspecting a subglacial river, they drilled down over 600 feet to investigate. While they anticipated finding water, they were astonished to discover it teeming with fast-moving creatures called amphipods. Furthermore, the scientists observed unusual layering and currents within the underground river, a phenomenon they are still striving to understand. Adding to the intrigue, on December 20th of that same year, a distant volcanic eruption in Tonga sent shockwaves across the globe, a stark reminder of the powerful forces shaping our planet. Imagine the force of a planet reshaping itself. The seismic waves unleashed by a colossal eruption, powerful enough to ripple through the very bones of the Earth, were detected thousands of miles away, even in the icy depths of Antarctica. It's a stark reminder of how interconnected our world is, how events in one corner can resonate across the globe. But now, let's consider a far more ominous scenario. Scientists are now predicting a volcanic cataclysm of unimaginable scale, an eruption that could dwarf anything our species has ever witnessed. The odds? A chilling 1 in 6 chance of it occurring this century. The potential consequences? Climate devastation amplified beyond our current struggles, and millions of lives hanging in the balance. Back in January 2022, the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano unleashed its fury in the South Pacific. The explosion was immense, sending tsunamis racing across the ocean, impacting Japan, North America, and South America. The island nation of Tonga bore the brunt of the disaster, suffering damage equivalent to nearly 20% of its entire economy. Now, researchers at the Niels Bohr Institute in Copenhagen have delved into ice core samples extracted from Greenland and Antarctica. Their findings paint a disturbing picture: the looming possibility of a global volcanic catastrophe. They suggest a tangible risk of an eruption dwarfing the Tonga event by a factor of 10 to 100. Throughout history, eruptions of this magnitude have triggered profound climate shifts and even in the surrounding landscape. And these clouds are incredibly hot, adding another layer of danger to the already volatile situation. Some volcanoes don't just spew ash. They launch rocks. Overheated rubble, propelled skyward with tremendous force, plummets back to Earth like a deadly meteor shower, You watch as these projectiles impact the surrounding ice caps and the churning water around you. Finally, you reach a relative safe zone and dare to look back. A line of volcanoes stretches across the horizon, each one vomiting forth a thick, red, molten stream. But the ocean offers no respite. Volcanoes located near bodies of water can trigger tsunamis. Submarine earthquakes, caused by the same tectonic forces that fuel the eruptions, shake the seabed and generate massive, destructive waves. Surfing is definitely out of the question. If these volcanoes are unleashing such intense heat, why hasn't all the ice in Antarctica melted long ago? The answer lies deep beneath the Earth's surface. The tectonic plates under Antarctica are relatively stable, moving at a glacial pace. Thus, for such a vast landmass, the coldest continent on Earth, the few active volcanoes aren't sufficient to melt all the ice. The real culprit behind the melting ice and rising sea levels is the warming ocean currents that encircle Antarctica. This time, however, they are erupting all at once. With the volcanoes already discovered, who knows how many more lie hidden, buried beneath the ice. That's the truly frightening prospect. Some of these volcanoes are concealed so deep that... Imagine a world where the very ground beneath your feet is a precarious dance between fire and ice. In Antarctica, this frigid continent is now threatened as lava bursts forth, heating the icy expanse. The solid ice, once a symbol of stability, begins to fracture and groan, splitting open like colossal cans of soda under immense pressure. Fiery lava erupts from the frozen depths, carving enormous cracks across the landscape. And then, an uninvited guest arrives. Magma! This molten rock begins its insidious work, melting the surrounding ice and further destabilizing the ground. Picture the slow, inexorable thaw as Antarctica's ice steadily melts away. If all this ice were to vanish, global sea levels would rise by a staggering 230 feet. Coastal cities, bustling with life, would be submerged beneath the waves. The familiar ocean currents would be disrupted, unleashing chaos upon the world's weather patterns, and hurricanes and typhoons would become relentless forces of nature. Marine life would face unprecedented peril, and countless small islands would disappear entirely beneath the rising tides. The air itself would become choked with smoke, disrupting air travel across the southern hemisphere. If the winds carried this smoke far enough, the entire world would be affected, economies would falter, and a global panic would ensue, leading to widespread health emergencies. A truly grim scenario. But did you know that NASA, the agency known for exploring stars, planets, galaxies, and black holes, also dedicates its resources to discoveries right here on Earth? It's true. NASA has recently uncovered something astonishing beneath the Antarctic ice. This discovery has the potential to rewrite our understanding of Earth's water systems, and may even provide crucial insights into the possibility of life beyond our planet. Humankind's very survival might hinge on unraveling the secrets hidden within Antarctica. These recent findings are revealing vital information about our future. However, before we delve deeper, let's test your knowledge of this land of ice. Antarctica, one of the world's 7 continents, sits in the southernmost reaches of our planet. It ranks as the 5th largest continent, nearly twice the size of Australia. And if you're looking for meteorites, Antarctica is the place to go. Thanks to its arid climate, it offers unparalleled conditions for observing the cosmos. What's even more remarkable is the abundance of meteorites scattered across its white surface. Scientists have already collected around 45,000 meteorites from the ice, and estimate that another 300,000 await discovery. With a scarcity of terrestrial rocks, these dark-colored space rocks are easily spotted. Antarctica's dry, desert-like environment also helps preserve these meteorites, even those that plummeted to Earth over 1 million years ago. Volcanic activity in Antarctica might seem improbable, but this is where fire and ice collide. West Antarctica is the epicenter of this geological drama, with scientists recently identifying 138 volcanoes in this region alone. While we often associate Antarctica with extreme cold, its coastal regions can experience temperatures as mild as 50 degrees. But have you ever wondered what lies beneath the ice? What would Antarctica look like if its icy blanket were removed? It may seem impossible, but Antarctica wasn't always covered in ice. That was 34 million years ago, and no one could say for sure what the continent's surface would look like without the ice. But NASA stepped in to shed light on this mystery. Using computer simulations, they created the most accurate map of Antarctica's hidden terrain to date. The results were ink. The landscape of Antarctica, far from being the flat, featureless expanse one might imagine, reveals itself as surprisingly undulating. Beneath the seemingly endless ice plains lie hidden valleys, gentle rolling plains, and even towering mountain ranges. However, the true marvel lies beneath the ice itself. Prepare yourself for an astonishing revelation. Through groundbreaking research, NASA has detected not one, but two previously unknown subglacial lakes nestled deep under the Antarctic ice sheet. And the most remarkable aspect of this discovery: these hidden lakes were pinpointed from space, thanks to the power of cutting-edge satellite technology. In 2003, NASA launched the Ice, Cloud, and Land Elevation Satellite, or ICESat for short. This sophisticated piece of equipment was designed to meticulously measure the mass balance of ice sheets, while also gathering data on cloud formations and aerosol distribution in the atmosphere. ICESat also played a crucial role in creating detailed, ice-free maps of the Antarctic continent, revealing the hidden topography beneath the frozen surface. Building on this success, the European Space Agency launched Cryosat-2 in 2010. This satellite was specifically engineered to track changes in the thickness of ice sheets across the globe, providing invaluable data on the effects of climate change. Then, in 2018, NASA launched ICESat-2, the successor to the original ICESat spacecraft. Equipped with the agency's most advanced Earth-observing laser instrument, ICESat-2 provided unprecedented precision in measuring ice sheet elevation and sea ice thickness. By combining the high-resolution data from ICESat-2 with information gathered by its predecessors, scientists were able to identify the two new subglacial lakes, located in close proximity to a pair of larger previously known lakes. But how can these lakes exist at all, buried beneath miles of solid ice? The average thickness of the Antarctic ice sheet is an astounding 1.2 miles. In certain areas, particularly during the frigid winter months, it can reach depths of over 1.8 miles. While it seems impossible that liquid water could exist under such immense pressure, scientific evidence tells a different story. Although imperceptible to the naked eye, the immense weight of the ice causes it to slowly but surely flow in different directions. For many years, the mechanics of this subterranean water movement remained a mystery. The breakthrough came in 2007, when data from ICESat provided unprecedented insights into the hidden world beneath the ice. Scientists discovered a vast network of interconnected meltwater lakes lurking beneath Antarctica's fast-flowing ice streams, hundreds of them in total. Helen Amanda Fricker, a glaciologist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, realized that the subtle changes in elevation measured by ICESat were directly linked to the dynamic behavior of these subglacial lakes. These lakes weren't static reservoirs of meltwater. Instead, they were constantly filling and draining through a complex system of underground waterways, causing the ice above to rise and fall in response. And where does all this water ultimately drain? Into the ocean, of course, and the volumes are staggering. A recent study co-authored by Fricker revealed that the drainage of a single lake released a colossal 198 billion gallons of water into the ocean in a mere 3 days. Countless mysteries about our planet remain unsolved, waiting to be uncovered. The discovery of these two new subglacial lakes offers scientists a valuable opportunity to refine their understanding of how the Antarctic ice sheet will respond to a warming climate. This knowledge is crucial for predicting future changes in global ocean currents and sea levels. The cyclical filling and draining of these lakes also contributes to the formation of cracks and crevices within the ice sheet. By studying the new lakes, scientists can gain a better understanding of the damage occurring on the surface of the ice. Furthermore, they can assess how this dynamic system, predicting continued volcanic activity in the region. Now, let's plunge into the dark, icy depths of Antarctica. Imagine the eerie blue abyss reminiscent of the vastness of space. Here, in this unlikely realm, a strange sound pierces the silence. A loud, quacking noise, as if a colossal duck were concealed in the deep. This peculiar sound, first recorded by researchers in 1960, was dubbed bioduck. For decades, its origin remained a mystery. Was it a giant kraken lurking in the depths? An extraterrestrial spacecraft that had crashed into the ocean? A mysterious sea monster? Or perhaps an enormous duck? Numerous outlandish theories emerged. Oceanographers detected similar sounds in other locations, off the western coast of Australia and near New Zealand. These higher-pitched signals were named biogoose. But these sounds were not isolated incidents. They occurred repeatedly at consistent intervals. Initially, many suspected a mechanical source, given the regularity of the sounds. However, studying the oceans in the latter half of the 20th century presented significant challenges due to technological limitations. Nevertheless, scientists persisted in collecting data on bioduck and biogoose, driven by their relentless curiosity. As more data accumulated, so did the theories. Eventually, the mystery began to unravel. Bioduck turned out to be a form of communication with a biological origin. Analyzing the repeating sounds, researchers noticed that the signals never overlapped. One source would speak, while the others remained silent, suggesting a sophisticated form of communication. The question remained: which ocean creature possessed such an extraordinary method of communicating through varied frequency sounds? The answer, as many suspected, was whales. Specifically, scientists compared the bioduck sound from Antarctica with the calls of minke whales, Balænoptera acuta, and found striking similarities. The biogoose sounds from the waters of Australia and New Zealand likely originate from other whale species or from very young minke whales. This discovery, however, only deepened the mystery. What purpose did these sounds serve? Were the whales discussing their dinner plans, or perhaps even laughing at the humans recording their strange calls? What if we could decipher their complex songs, understand their epic migrations, or even share thoughts and feelings? The possibilities are truly staggering. Imagine one day establishing a genuine two-way conversation with these ocean giants. And astonishingly, that day may be closer than we think. Scientists at the University of California have already achieved a monumental breakthrough, establishing contact with a humpback whale known as twain, Megaptera novaeanglii. In an unprecedented experiment, researchers engaged in a 20-minute exchange with this magnificent marine mammal. Let's delve into how they accomplished this remarkable feat. The team embarked on a marine expedition to the Alaskan coast, where they meticulously recorded the vocalizations of a humpback whale pod. These recordings were then played back through underwater speakers, effectively broadcasting signals back into the ocean depths. The transmitted sounds were designed to mimic a greeting, "Hey, what's up?" if you will, translated into the complex language of whales. These types of greetings are commonly used by whales to signal their presence to one another or to pinpoint their location. Almost immediately after sending this sonic message, the researchers received a reply. Twain, clearly intrigued, approached the research vessel, circled it, and responded with a greeting of its own. This marked the dawn of the first documented human-whale conversation. For a full 20 minutes, the scientists transmitted a series of 36 signals to Twain, and each time, the whale responded in kind. What's more, Twain seemed to grasp the nuances of conversational timing, waiting for specific intervals before replying. The team would send a signal, pause for 10 seconds, and then Twain would respond. It appeared that Twain was an exceptionally considerate conversationalist. Perhaps Twain was the equivalent of a true gentleman in the whale kingdom? Or maybe, more simply, it was captivated by this novel and unusual exchange. The signals employed in this communication were derived from the very same group of whales to which Twain belonged. It's highly probable that the researchers had captured Twain's own vocalizations and cleverly used them to initiate the conversation. In a way, Twain was essentially conversing with itself, a mirror image echoing across the waves. Now, let's shift our focus and plunge into the deepest abyss on Earth, the Mariana Trench. A stark reminder of its immensity, this colossal chasm lies over 1,500 miles south of Japan, plunging to an astonishing depth of nearly 36,000 feet at its deepest point. To truly grasp that scale, consider this. The Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on our planet, is only about 1/10 the depth of the Mariana Trench. Now, picture this. In this lightless, crushing environment, scientists have recorded a sound unlike any other. Far removed from the calls of a whale, this sound evokes something straight out of a science fiction film. Imagine a deep, resonating rumble, punctuated by a sharp metallic ping, almost like something you'd hear from the spaceships of a sci-fi blockbuster. Researchers christen this eerie phenomenon biotwang noises. The initial detection of this sound occurred in 2014 during an acoustic survey of the Mariana Trench. Soon after, scientists were able to pinpoint its origin. The calls of the elusive bride's whale, Balænoptera adeni. Harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, researchers meticulously analyzed approximately 200,000 hours of underwater audio recordings, ultimately matching the biotwang sound to a specific group of bride's whales. Just like countless other creatures on our planet, these whales rely on sound as a fundamental means of communication, weaving complex sonic tapestries in the ocean depths. Now, prepare for a jarring contrast. Can you imagine what else has been discovered at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? A discarded plastic bottle. It's highly improbable that this was left behind by a kraken, some undiscovered whale species, or a mysterious sea monster. The explanation, unfortunately, is far more mundane. The bottle ended up there due to human activity, a stark reminder, though a topic perhaps best left for another time. Let's turn our attention to one final sound, a mystery echoing from the most isolated place on Earth, far from any whale song. This place is known as Point Nemo, and its very location is what makes it so utterly alone. Situated in the south, imagine a place on our planet more isolated than any other. Deep in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean lies Point Nemo, the most remote location from any landmass. The nearest speck of Earth is a staggering 1,450 nautical miles distant, a distance virtually equal in all directions. But the isolation doesn't end there. This oceanic void is also a biological desert. Few currents reach these waters, meaning essential nutrients are scarce. Life struggles to thrive in this desolate expanse. Now, picture this. In 1997, oceanographers monitoring this area recorded a sound unlike any they had heard before. A bizarre, almost terrifying noise emanating from the crushing depths near Point Nemo. It was something colossal, something monstrous. The phenomenon was quickly dubbed the bloop. As news spread, imaginations ran wild. Journalists seized upon the story, and theories exploded across the globe. The most captivating? A gigantic sea monster lurking in the abyss, a modern-day kraken, or some other unimaginable leviathan. But the frenzy was short-lived. Science, as it often does, stepped in to unravel the mystery. The source of the bloop, it turned out, was far less fantastical, but no less impressive. An iceberg. Imagine the immense power of a colossal iceberg cracking and calving. These events generate ultra-low frequency sounds that can travel vast distances through the ocean. To confirm their theory, scientists recorded the sounds of other icebergs breaking apart. The result? An audio signature eerily similar to the infamous bloop. Interestingly, Point Nemo's extreme isolation has another unique application. Space agencies utilize this watery wilderness as a dumping ground for decommissioned satellites. These defunct space objects are intentionally plunged into the depths, with a 99% certainty that no marine life or humans will be harmed by the falling debris. It's a grim but practical solution, earning Point Nemo the nickname the Satellite Cemetery. But a chilling thought lingers. What if, one day, a spacecraft of decidedly non-terrestrial origin were to crash into these waters? What if such an alien vessel already lies submerged, occasionally emitting a strange, unidentifiable distress signal that echoes through the ocean depths? While the mystery of the bloop has been solved, other sonic enigmas remain. Let's turn our attention to another baffling underwater sound, upsweep. First detected in 1991 using hydrophones strategically placed in the Pacific Ocean, upsweep is not merely random noise, it's than anywhere else on Earth. Meteorites. Scientific research suggests that meteorites have an equal chance of landing anywhere on our planet. However, the journey through the atmosphere and the subsequent weathering on the ground create a more complex picture. In humid climates, like those near jungles, moisture and oxygen accelerate the corrosion of meteorites. Antarctica's exceptionally dry climate minimizes this corrosion. Furthermore, the stark white surface of the ice makes these space rocks far easier to spot than in any other environment on Earth. If the cold doesn't frighten you, the winds of Antarctica surely will. This continent is largely the windiest place on our planet. Wind speeds here have been recorded reaching a staggering 320 kilometers per hour, 200 million km/h. Imagine the sheer force of that wind, a constant reminder of the raw power of nature. Many dream of visiting the Arctic, witnessing the majestic polar bears roaming the ice floes, or the mesmerizing aurora borealis painting the night sky. However, you won't find similar tourist crowds flocking to Antarctica anytime soon. Why? Let's explore the reasons. First of all, let's journey to a place of stark beauty and extreme isolation, Antarctica. Where is this frozen realm? It lies in the southernmost reaches of our planet, firmly planted at the South Pole. Imagine a vast, icy continent embraced by the turbulent Southern Ocean. A place dominated by ice, a landscape of unimaginable cold and remoteness. Have you ever encountered someone who has actually set foot on Antarctica? It's more than likely the answer is no. This is one of Earth's least visited destinations, a place where only a privileged few have witnessed the interior, a seemingly endless expanse of glaciers and frozen plains. But those who have seen it speak of wildlife encounters and breathtaking scenery unlike anything else on this planet. Why then shouldn't we all flock to Antarctica? For one crucial reason. Its environment is incredibly delicate. It's a world easily damaged, easily disrupted. Remember, there are no native human populations here. A visit to Antarctica is essentially a visit to an uninhabited world, and let's not overlook the practicalities. It's also one of the most expensive destinations on Earth. Despite its remoteness, Antarctica isn't entirely unprotected. An international agreement, the Antarctic Treaty, is in place. Negotiated to prevent exploitation and unwanted activity, it bans certain forms of testing by member nations. The primary reason we can't simply wander into Antarctica is the fragile ecosystem it harbors, a system that demands our utmost respect and protection. The treaty explicitly states that Antarctica must be used for peaceful purposes only, free from any human activity that could inflict environmental harm. Scientists are still unraveling the mysteries of this unique ecosystem, and our presence, our machines, our activities could irrevocably upset the delicate balance that exists there. Even if you're determined to visit, gaining permission is no simple task. Citizens of the United States, for example, must navigate a complex application process, submitting a special form to the Office of Ocean and Polar Affairs. And once on the continent, strict guidelines must be followed to safeguard the environment. This includes a complete ban on disturbing any wildlife or collecting souvenirs, such as rocks, plants, or animal life. Could you theoretically live in Antarctica? While no laws explicitly forbid permanent habitation, the environment is simply too hostile for sustained human life. Temperatures can plummet to a staggering 76 degrees, 60 degrees, and below, making survival virtually impossible without specialized equipment and extensive experience. Furthermore, the nearest landmass is over 1,000 miles away, leaving any inhabitants utterly isolated from the rest of civilization. Perhaps one day we will all have the opportunity to experience this extraordinary continent firsthand. But until then, let's appreciate its unique beauty and importance from a respectful distance. Now, let's delve into the story of Antarctica's discovery. Unlike other lands with long histories of human habitation, Antarctica remained untouched by native populations. Yet, even ancient Greek philosophers speculated about its existence, coining the name Antarctos, meaning opposite the bear. This wasn't a reference to polar bears, of course, which are exclusive to the Arctic, but rather to the constellations Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, the Great Bear and Little Bear, visible only in the northern hemisphere. Thus, the name signifies the land opposite the realm of the bear constellations. In the late 1700s and early 1800s, whaling and sealing expeditions ventured further and further south, rounding Cape Horn at the tip of South America. Sailors knew that pushing southward meant facing stronger winds and the perilous risk of encountering floating ice in all its forms and battling winds and seas that could easily overwhelm a ship and its crew. Captain James Cook holds the distinction of being the first to cross the Antarctic Circle, achieving this feat on January 17, 1773, in the Ross Sea region. He then reached an even more southerly point a year later. Although he never actually sighted the Antarctic mainland, he came within a mere 50 miles and observed rock deposits embedded in icebergs, providing compelling evidence of a substantial landmass further south. Let's journey back to January 1820. Imagine the icy expanse of the Southern Ocean, where two ships cut through the frigid waters. These vessels, under the command of Captain Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen, were part of a grand 2-year exploratory expedition, a mission to chart new territories around the globe. As part of this ambitious voyage, Captain Bellingshausen's ships achieved a remarkable feat, becoming the first to penetrate the Antarctic Circle since the legendary Captain Cook. But the first confirmed landing on the Antarctic continent would not occur for many decades. It wasn't until January 24, 1895, that men set foot on this frozen land at Cape Adare. This historic moment came during a Norwegian whaling expedition aboard the ship Antarctic, led by Henrik Bull. A small boat carrying 6 or perhaps 7 brave souls carefully navigated to shore under calm conditions, marking a new chapter in the exploration of this remote and mysterious continent. Now, prepare for a surprise. Antarctica is technically a desert. Yes, a desert. We often associate deserts with scorching heat, camels, and a desperate search for water. Antarctica defies these expectations. Here, the challenge isn't finding water, it's everywhere in its frozen form. The true scarcity lies in the almost complete absence of precipitation. Over the past 30 years, the average rainfall has barely exceeded 0.4 inches, a mere smattering of drops compared to most regions of the world. The defining characteristic of a desert isn't sand dunes or sweltering temperatures, it's the lack of significant precipitation. So, rest assured, if you ever find yourself wandering across the Antarctic ice, thirst won't be your primary concern. But remember to pack your warmest gear. You'll need a serious jacket and mittens to fend off the intense cold. Antarctica is not just one of the driest places on Earth. It's also the coldest, the windiest, and the highest continent. This frozen realm presents unique challenges, even when it comes to something as basic as telling time. Unlike the rest of the world, Antarctica doesn't adhere to a standard time zone. All the lines of longitude converge at the South Pole, creating a perplexing situation for timekeeping. So how do the scientists and researchers stationed there manage to stay on schedule? Typically, they adopt the time zone of their home country. However, with research stations from numerous nations scattered across the Antarctic Peninsula, things can become quite complicated. Imagine the logistical puzzle of coordinating activities with neighboring stations while avoiding the faux pas of calling them in the dead of night. One might assume that such an extreme environment, characterized by bone-chilling temperatures, minimal sunlight, and gale-force winds, would be devoid of life. Yet, as is often the case on our planet, life has found a way to thrive even in Antarctica. This frozen continent teems with activity. It's home to vast swarms of krill, tiny crustaceans that form the base of the food chain, attracting hordes of seals and more penguins than you could count. And these penguins are not just adorable birds. They are expert swimmers, possessing streamlined bodies that would be the envy of Olympic athletes. They waddle ashore to breed and socialize, but their true talents lie in their uncanny ability to steal pebbles from each other and their remarkable talent for forming perfectly geometric huddles to conserve warmth. Antarctica also hosts the largest penguin species on Earth, the majestic emperor penguin, Aptenodytes forsteri. While flightless, these impressive birds are capable of leaping up to 4 feet in the air. Then, there are the seals. Protected by the Antarctic Treaty, these furry marine mammals flourish in the frigid waters of the Southern Ocean, serenading the icy landscape with their unique songs. But perhaps the most awe-inspiring inhabitants of Antarctica are the whales. During the Antarctic summer, these colossal creatures arrive in massive numbers to feast on the abundant krill, their presence a testament to the remarkable biodiversity of this seemingly desolate continent. Imagine a place where the icy waters teem with life, a veritable krill buffet stretching as far as the eye can see. Discovering such hidden gems on our planet is an adventure beyond compare. Today, we embark on a journey to a land you won't soon forget. Bundle up, because things are about to get very, very cold. Our journey begins with a flight to the ice-covered island of Greenland. As you step off the plane, an ethereal spectacle greets you. The aurora borealis, those mesmerizing northern lights. Words can scarcely capture their beauty. Your guide informs you of their rarity, explaining that many spend days, even weeks, chasing this elusive phenomenon. You feel fortunate, taking a moment to simply absorb the dancing, greenish lights. Camera in hand, you capture the moment for eternity. Between clicks, you learn of the aurora borealis's violent origins. This breathtaking display is born from the sun's energetic particles colliding with Earth's upper atmosphere, a cosmic ballet of raw power. Day 2 unfolds with an aerial exploration. Greenland, as you might expect, is one of the world's largest islands. From the helicopter's vantage point, an endless icy expanse stretches to the horizon. Beneath you lies over 656,000 square miles of solid ice. What's that below? A family of polar bears. Admire them from a safe distance, of course. Greenland's harsh conditions may deter human habitation, but certain species thrive in this icy realm. Reindeer roam freely, wolves stalk the frozen plains, and Arctic foxes dart across the snow. Your journey to Greenland likely included a stopover in Copenhagen. Denmark is one of the few countries offering commercial flights to this remote island. You discover that Greenland is, in fact, part of the Kingdom of Denmark, nestled between the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans on the map. A local pilot, privy to the island's hidden secrets, becomes your guide. Beneath that 2-meter-thick white surface lies a hidden world, a realm of canyons, ancient meteor craters, and plant fossils dating back millennia. You yearn to explore these hidden wonders, but for now, you must rely on your imagination, as nearly 80% of the island lies entombed beneath the ice. Our first stop is Greenland's Grand Canyon. We land nearby, in the island's northern reaches. Canyons, as you know, are deep, narrow valleys carved by time and erosion. But did you know that the word canyon originates from the Spanish canon, meaning tube or pipe? This Grand Canyon shares similarities with its American counterpart, particularly in its immense scale. It stretches at least 460 miles in length and plunges to depths of 2,600 feet in places. A true subglacial valley lies hidden beneath the ice. How did it form? Likely, a river flowed here long before the ice claimed the land. Greenland wasn't always a frozen wasteland. It was once green, a vibrant landscape teeming with life. Like Antarctica, it once enjoyed a verdant past. Scientists have pieced together Greenland's ice-free history through airborne radar, a technology that, remarkably, renders ice virtually invisible. If you doubt this, consider the experiment of placing an ice cube in the microwave. It remains stubbornly cold. Recent discoveries of fossilized plants have led researchers to conclude that Greenland was once far warmer than previously imagined. In 2021, a University of Vermont expedition unearthed twigs and leaves, leaving researchers baffled. Instead of the expected sand and rocks, they found evidence of a thriving ecosystem buried deep within the ice. But the evidence doesn't lie. They unearthed undeniable proof of a flourishing plant life from a distant era. Looking at the stark landscape today, it's almost impossible to fathom that lush forests once thrived here. While you might find some hardy tundra vegetation clinging to the coastal fringes of the island, That's about all that remains. But the genetic whispers locked within these fossilized plants tell a different story. Researchers now believe that this island was once a vibrant, verdant land. Picture this: insect-filled forests teeming with life, butterflies dancing on the breeze, beetles buzzing through the undergrowth. The average temperature, a balmy 50-degree Fahrenheit in the summer, dipping to a relatively mild vertigrade in the winter. NASA's Operation Icebridge has soared above Greenland more than 100 times, a testament to our quest for knowledge. These aerial surveys have allowed scientists to construct detailed 3D maps of the island, unlocking the secrets held within each layer of Greenland's immense ice sheet. These ice sheets are time capsules, holding answers to scientific questions, formed layer upon layer over millennia. Imagine countless snowfalls, each layer compressing the one beneath, transforming into solid ice. This relentless process, repeated over vast stretches of time, creates the colossal structures we call ice sheets. And those fossils we spoke of earlier? They are believed to be remnants from the Eemian period, a warm interglacial age that occurred roughly 130,000 to 115,000 years ago. Thanks to NASA's revolutionary 3D mapping, we can now discern 3 distinct climate periods etched within the ice sheet itself. The uppermost layer, smooth and uniform, tells one story. But delve deeper, and you encounter a layer formed during the last ice age, a chaotic, rugged landscape frozen in time. The ice here is darker, hinting at the secrets it holds. Let your imagination run wild, and you can almost see woolly mammoths, Mammuthus primigenius, lumbering across this frozen world. Continue your descent, and you will eventually reach the icy remnants of the Eemian period, a world transformed. But canyons aren't the only astonishing finds concealed beneath the ice. If you could peel back these frozen layers, you'd be greeted by a breathtaking panorama. A majestic mountain range and plunging fjords carved by ancient glaciers. In 2017, scientists pieced together a map revealing Greenland's hidden form, free from its icy burden. A vast, bowl-like depression dominated the island's center, most likely the bed of an ancient lake. Encircling this depression, a ring of coastal mountain ranges rose towards the sky. This primeval scenery likely mirrored the dramatic landscapes of modern-day Patagonia, towering snow-capped mountains cradling crystalline lakes. This ancient Greenlandic lake is a marvel in itself. Envision a colossal basin, an area the size of Rhode Island and Delaware combined. This immense body of water is estimated to have stretched across over 2,700 square miles. In its heyday, it was nourished by at least 18 distinct streams, their waters cascading into the lake. These crystalline blue waters must have been both inviting and intensely frigid. But should you be tempted to take a dip, beware. The lake plunged to depths of 800 feet in certain areas. Imagine discovering a hidden, subglacial water park on the 3rd day of your Greenland adventure. As you traverse the ice-covered expanse, your guide cautions you to be wary of the cracks that crisscross the surface. These seemingly innocuous fissures are the architects of a modern-day aquatic wonder hidden beneath the ice. Meltwater and rainwater trickle down these cracks, carving pathways to subterranean rivers and lakes. This creates a surreal landscape of jewel-like lakes and streams, all filled with pristine, crystalline water. Researchers estimate that roughly 60 of these small subglacial lakes exist, each a hidden oasis in a frozen world. But perhaps the most awe-inspiring feature concealed beneath the ice is a colossal meteor crater. Beneath the Hiawatha Glacier lies an impact crater, a staggering 19 miles wide, large enough to engulf the entire city of Washington, D.C. It's believed that an iron asteroid, a mile in diameter, pierced Earth's atmosphere within the last 100,000 years, choosing Greenland as its point of impact. Imagine the spectacle if anyone had witnessed this event. A blinding white-hot fireball streaking across the sky, a harbinger of immense power. Imagine the sheer force of an asteroid impacting an ice sheet millions of years ago. The immediate vaporization of water and rock would have been a spectacle of unimaginable power. Even hundreds of miles away, any creature witnessing this event would have been struck by a deafening thunderclap and pummeled by hurricane-force winds. The physics are simple, yet terrifying. Asteroids enter our atmosphere at speeds approaching 45,000 miles per hour. That's 2.5 times the velocity of a spaceship. An impact guaranteed to leave a colossal scar on the planet. Now, let's journey to Antarctica, 2011. Here, Chilean scientists unearthed a peculiar fossil, an object resembling a flattened football. For nearly a decade, this enigmatic rock sat unlabeled in Chile's National Museum of Natural History, known only as the Thing, due to its otherworldly appearance, like something ripped from the pages of a science fiction novel. But what secrets did it hold? Finally, small, exhibit beautiful shades of yellow and orange, their bumpy surfaces revealing the path of the resin as it flowed from the trees. This resin likely served as a defense mechanism, protecting the trees from insect infestations. Its preservation was made possible by rapid submersion in water, shielding it from the destructive effects of sunlight and air. In a surprising turn of events, a scientist, while scouring satellite images for telltale brown trails of penguin waste, stumbled upon 4 previously unknown colonies of emperor penguins at the bottom of the world. These new colonies have likely existed for years, although 3 of them are relatively small, each containing fewer than 1,000 breeding penguins. One of the newly discovered colonies was located near the Lazarev ice shelf, the site of a former larger penguin colony. While it was believed that this original colony had vanished in 2019, it appears the penguins simply relocated due to shifts in sea ice conditions. Studying these penguin populations can provide crucial information about how emperor penguins adapt to our planet's changing environment. Now, imagine a vast river system carving its way across Antarctica some 40 million years ago. Researchers have unearthed evidence of this ancient waterway by analyzing soft sediments and hardened rocks recovered from the frozen seabed. By examining minute traces of radioactive elements like uranium and lead, they determined that the deeper layers of sediment dated back to the age of dinosaurs. The layers closer to the surface were younger and exhibited a distinctive pattern reminiscent of river deltas seen today, such as those of the Mississippi River or the Rio Grande. Within the sand, scientists detected subtle signs of past life. This ancient river, originating in the Trans-Antarctic Mountains, flowed for an impressive 930 miles before emptying into the sea. Researchers are continuing to analyze more recent sediment layers dating back approximately 20 million years, hoping that this research will allow them to predict. Let's turn our gaze to the icy expanse of Antarctica, a land of extremes and hidden secrets. Imagine, if you will, a place so remote that its mysteries are only now beginning to be unraveled. It was on Google Earth, that ubiquitous window into our world, that some keen-eyed observers spotted something truly unusual. A pyramid-like structure rising from the frozen wastes. Immediately, the internet ignited. Theories spread like wildfire. Could this be evidence of an ancient civilization, a relic left by beings from another world? Was this pyramid a natural formation, or something deliberately constructed? Intriguingly, this wasn't the first pyramidal structure discovered in Antarctica. The British Antarctic expedition, more than a century ago in the 1910s, had already observed a similar formation. But the discovery remained shrouded in secrecy for many years, adding fuel to the speculative fire. Then, in 2016, a second such structure came to light, further intensifying the interest and speculation. But the truth, as is often the case, proved to be less sensational, though no less fascinating. Scientists soon stepped in to decipher the mystery. These pyramids, they explained, are simply mountains. Part of the Ellsworth Mountains range, which stretches for over 250 miles. These are mountain peaks that have pushed their way through the immense ice sheet. Their pyramid shape? A quirk of nature, a geological coincidence. Similar formations can be found elsewhere on the planet, like the iconic Matterhorn in the Alps or Mount Baljinder in Iceland. These peaks are officially called nunataks, isolated rock formations that stand tall, piercing through the glacial ice. Antarctica holds many more incredible secrets. It is, after all, the repository of 60 to 90% of the world's fresh water. This colossal reserve is locked within its massive ice sheet, a frozen expanse covering 5.4 million square miles. Only a tiny fraction, a mere 1%, of the continent remains ice-free. At its deepest point, the ice reaches an astonishing 2.7 miles in thickness, half the height of Mount Everest itself. Should this ice ever melt completely, global sea levels would rise by a staggering 200 feet. But it wasn't always a frozen wasteland. Imagine a time, millions of years ago, when Antarctica enjoyed a temperate climate, with average temperatures comparable to those of modern-day Melbourne. Scientists believe that temperatures could have reached a balmy 62.6 degrees. This was during a period, 40 to 50 million years ago, when dinosaurs still walked the Earth. Even time itself behaves differently on this icy continent. All the lines of longitude, those invisible markers that define our time zones, converge at the South Pole. Here, the year is divided into 6 months of continuous daylight in the summer, followed by 6 months of complete darkness during the winter. As a result, scientists working in Antarctica often stick to the time zone of their home country, a practical solution in a land where the rules are different. Now, let's journey to a place known as the Blood Falls. This isn't a scene from a horror movie, but a real geological phenomenon. In one of the driest regions of Antarctica, a series of waterfalls cascade down, stained a deep, unsettling red. This unusual color comes from an underground lake teeming with a unique type of bacteria. These microorganisms use sulfates as fuel instead of sugars, a process that intrigues scientists. The water in the lake is saturated with iron. When it comes into contact with the air, it rusts, creating the distinctive reddish hue that gives the Blood Falls their name. The ancient oceans surrounding Antarctica once teemed with colossal predators. One of the most formidable was the megalodon, Otodus megalodon, the largest shark ever to have lived. This apex predator roamed the world's oceans, except for the frigid waters near the poles. The absence of megalodon teeth in Antarctica suggests that this gigantic creature was adapted to warmer, tropical, and subtropical waters. Finally, a word of advice for anyone planning a visit to Antarctica by boat. Be sure your vessel has a hull made of steel or aluminum. These robust materials are necessary to withstand the harsh weather conditions and icy seas. Antarctica may seem barren, but even here, life finds a way. Though the continent is not home to many insects, there is at least one true species of bug that has managed to survive in this extreme environment. Imagine a world of ice and snow, a seemingly barren landscape. Yet even here, life finds a way. Consider a tiny wingless midge, Belgica antarctica. This minuscule fly barely reaches a third of an inch in length, but remarkably, it holds the title of Antarctica's largest terrestrial animal. And it's not just insects defying the cold. Many Antarctic fish possess a fascinating adaptation, an antifreeze substance in their blood. This isn't solely for protection against freezing temperatures, but more crucially, to prevent damage from contact with ice. These natural antifreezes are composed of large glycoprotein molecules. Picture them surrounding any microscopic ice crystals that might form, preventing them from spreading through the fish's delicate tissues and causing potentially fatal harm. These molecules even act as tiny cushions, shielding the fish from the sharp edges of the ice crystals and reducing discomfort. Rain is a rarity in this frozen realm, but Antarctica boasts another meteorological oddity: diamond dust. Imagine tiny ice crystals, born from humid air close to the ground, shimmering like a frozen fog. As these minuscule crystals dance in the air, catching the sunlight, they erupt in a dazzling display, making the landscape sparkle as if scattered with diamonds. It might seem the least likely place to give birth, but in 1978, the first human was born on this icy continent. Emil Marco Palma entered the world here, and since then, 10 other individuals have followed suit, marking a unique chapter in human history. Here, too, lies a lake so saturated with salt that it defies freezing, even when temperatures plummet to a frigid 15 degrees Celsius. 5 degrees. Pure water freezes at 0 degrees, 32 degrees, but the presence of salt or any other substance drastically lowers the freezing point. The extent of this reduction hinges on the specific substance and its concentration within the water. Antarctica holds the distinction of being the last continent officially discovered. It remained unseen until the 1820s, and even then, it took another 2 decades to confirm its continental status, dispelling the notion that it was merely a cluster of icy islands. Don't think that the cold prevents romance from blossoming. One December night, an American scientist stationed in Antarctica, driven by mere curiosity, logged onto a dating app. He fully expected to find no other profiles in this desolate location. To his astonishment, he soon found a match, another researcher stationed just 45 minutes away by helicopter. Their connection led to what is believed to be the first recorded date in Antarctica, a testament to the enduring human desire for companionship, even in the most extreme environments. Beyond the vast expanse of ice, this continent holds another treasure, more abundant here,